What's up guys, my name is Vazin and welcome to my ranking of the Soulsborne games, FromSoft specifically. Now, a couple things I want to preface before we get into this. I am a huge fan of every single one of these games. I love all of them and I would consider them all to be S tier and better than almost everything else I've ever played in video games. So even the lowest one on this list, I consider to be an incredible game. So if your favorite one's at the bottom, don't be offended please. And also, this is a personal list, not an objective list. This is just my opinion. So if you disagree, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. One more thing I sadly have to preface is that I've got gameplay for all of these games right now except for Bloodborne and Demon's Souls. I can play them currently, but currently I cannot record gameplay for them due to them both being on PlayStation only and not PC, which, you know, I mean, we're all sad about that, you know, especially Bloodborne. So at the moment for this video, I'm gonna have to just use trailer footage and stuff like that. I do apologize for that, but without further ado, let's get into my ranking of the Soulsborne FromSoft games. So, at last place we have Demon's Souls, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but okay, I love Demon's Souls. I think it's a fantastic game. I love the world. I think it actually has one of my favorite worlds out of any of the Souls games, just like the visual design of it all. I think it's impeccable. I love Boletaria. I think it just looks incredible, and especially in, you know, the remake. It's the best looking Souls game. I think we can all, you know, at least give it that. But I think the only reason why there's two major reasons why Demon's Souls usually tends to rank lower for me. One of the major ones being that I think it just has the most annoying areas out of all the Souls games, and not even really like fun annoying. More just like overly frustrating to the point of like it's not even really fun anymore. At least some of them are like that, aka 5.1 and 5.2. I think that's, you know, the main ones that really do, you know, get on your nerves a lot. But then I think the main other reason why it ranks so low for me is due to the boss fights. When it comes to Souls games, one of the main things I love, you know, is boss fights. I love the amazing, epic, you know, intense fights that FromSoft are able to give us. And I don't know, I feel like Demon's Souls, most of the bosses are mostly gimmick fights, and even when they're not gimmick fights, they're just kind of okay. There's about 3 or 4 bosses in Demon's Souls that I say that I really like, mainly being like False King Alond, Penetrator, Tower Knight. I kind of like Flame Lurker. Yeah, there's a couple more that, you know, I'm not figuring off at the top of my head, but, you know, at the end of the day, most of them are more like sort of puzzly fights. Like most of them have some kind of gimmick. As soon as you figure it out, you know, the boss is kind of easy at that point. And that's just kind of unfortunate to me because, you know, don't get me wrong, Demon's Souls is still an incredible game. It is still amazing. Like I said, every single one of these games I would consider to be incredible and some of the best experiences I've ever had in playing games. So it's more just that it's the worst of the best, in my opinion. So, you know, it still works. Like I said, I think the sound design, especially in the remake, is incredible. I love some of the sounds in that game. It's absolutely incredible, and just like I said, visually, the lighting, everything like that, it's an experience. It's amazing. But I just find myself going back to it at least, and I guess since I've played these games so many times, and so at the end of the day, replay value is kind of the main thing I'm going back for. When you don't really have that, it kind of hurts my personal experience on the game. But either way, Demon's Souls is still an incredible game. I think it has a lot of strong points, but I just think it has the most weak points for me personally out of the series. Dark Souls 2. a game that definitely has a mix of opinions in the community. A lot of people love the game, a lot of people hate the game. I personally fall much more into the love camp of this game. I genuinely really enjoy Dark Souls 2. It has its flaws. It definitely has its flaws, and we'll maybe go through those first so that I can get those out of the way. First of all, adaptability should never have really been a stat. Having a stat affect your rolls and your SS animations and all this kind of stuff. Ridiculous and should never have been a stat. Ganks and terrible runbacks and stuff like that to bosses. Yep, that sucks. It's terrible, especially Reindeer Falkland. I think it's still the worst area in all of Soulsborne. But that's kind of where most of the negatives stop for me. I know some people talk about how the game feels, but maybe it's just because I've played it a lot. But it personally doesn't bother me. I actually find it feels quite nice. But again, I have played Dark Souls 2 quite a lot, so perhaps that's why. But then going into the reasons I love it and why it's above Demon Souls for me is, first of all, one of the negatives I brought up with Demon Souls was the bosses. And I will say, there are some weak bosses in Dark Souls 2. There's 41 bosses in Dark Souls 2. And I'd say about half of them are kind of forgettable and a bit boring. But some of the good ones are really good. I love Velsta. Fume Knight is my favourite. Absolute awesome boss. Suralon is amazing. And even though there isn't so many super strong bosses, that is still kind of one of the reasons why this is a bit lower, due to just having quite a few that are quite annoying. I think still, overall, the boss quality is pretty good, and definitely, in my opinion, better than Demon Souls. I also just much prefer the way the world feels and how you explore it and stuff. Plus, just the game feels. I really don't like how clunky Demon Souls is, like slow and clunky your character is. Dark Souls 2 also is slightly clunky, but not so slow. Especially with certain weapons, which brings me into another love, which is the weapon variety. I really love all the different weapons and movesets they introduced in Dark Souls 2. Like, they're so much fun. I think the only more fun weapons in the series is maybe in Bloodborne, and probably like Elden Ring, especially with the DLC. But god, the weapons in that game are so much fun, and there's so many different ones, so much variety in the movesets. He introduced power stancing. I do think the system that Elden Ring does for power stancing is better, where like you don't need to have so much stats, but it's still so much fun. There's so many unique weapons and tight ways to play the game that I personally think it has the second most replayability after Elden Ring, which is why I've played it so much. I really enjoy Dark Souls 2. I understand people's negatives of it. I personally even love the lore. I think the lore is very interesting and very good. I find King Vendrick and his story to be very compelling, at least from what I understand of it. I'm not a lore expert or anything, but I do enjoy the lore of Dark Souls 2 quite a lot. And although I would say it is weaker than 1 and 3, but at the end of the day, I really love Dark Souls 2. I understand why people feel so negatively towards it, but for me, it at least ranks above Demon Souls, and I almost wanted to put it at the next spot up, but I just couldn't because of the next one and how special it is. And speaking of the next one, I think that's enough said about Dark Souls 2, so let's get on to it. Dark Souls 1. God. Where do I even start with this game, man? This game is just so incredible. The first half of this game genuinely blew my mind with just how incredible everything about it was. can still remember so much of just being amazed by going through certain areas, coming back, ending up back at Firelink Shrine. Like, no other game, I think, has a feeling like Dark Souls 1 does. It is truly an amazing experience that I really don't think you can get, like, anywhere else. But let's, talk about the elephant in the room, and I'm sure most of you get why, maybe my main reason for why it's so low, is that the second half of the game. It is so unfortunate, but past Anor Londo, it really falls off. You have all of the Lord Soul bosses, and in my opinion, none of them are good. I don't really like any of their fights. Maybe best one is Four Kings, maybe Nito. But obviously I don't need to talk about the Better Chaos. And Sif is really disappointing. Not to mention Lost Izalith as an area in general, I think is up there, like probably top 5 worst and most like disappointing places in all of Souls. Especially again because the Witch of Izalith is such an interesting character in the lore, and so was Sif and so was Nito, and to get such disappointing fights for them is just so unfortunate. I know there's reasons for it, development times, but that still doesn't change the fact that like this is what we have, and that's what I've got to go off. Not to mention, I also just as fun as the game is, I don't have as much fun replaying it compared to the others. Again, this game is incredible, and I've played it countless times and will play it countless more times, especially for videos in the future. But I just mean, compared to the next ones on the list, I find myself going back to this one less, partly because of the second half of the game. But enough of the negatives, because that's really the main one. I don't even care about the non-omnidirectional rolling, the only 4-way rolling. You get used to it, it's fine. Like, that first half of the game is so incredible. The lore of this game is so amazing. So it has some incredible stories with incredible characters. I love Artorias and his whole story with Sif and the Abyss. Absolutely incredible. Also, I think I said Sif instead of Sif. I meant Sif when I was talking about the dragon. But that's also another bonus. The DLC is incredible all the way through. I think all the bosses are fun. Even Sanctuary Guardian is a pretty memorable boss for me. I think he's pretty cool. Artorias is incredible. My personal favorite boss. Manus is amazing. Calamede's awesome. Not the best dragon fight in Souls. That goes to one that maybe I'll bring up later. And yeah, the DLC is incredible. The first few areas of the game just flow so well and work so just perfectly together. Like, it's astounding to me genuinely how incredibly FromSoft did it. Like, it feels so seamless just to go through this world. Like, as much as I'm glad that Dark Souls 2 and onwards lets you just fast travel normally, like from the start of the game, I'm glad that's the case. I'm glad that that's not the case in Dark Souls 1. Like, it just feels so awesome traversing through the world. Even going all the way down to Blighttown, to have to come all the way up or anything like that because you realise you're way too weak to beat fucking Spider Quayle. Like, it still is just such an awesome experience. The fact that you can even just like go through all that. I mean, then you have things like, again, when it comes to bosses, I don't think there's that many amazing ones in this game. I think Artorias is amazing, Manus, Calamite, Ornstein and Smough. There's definitely more. I feel like I'm just blanking in my mind. But like, there are really good ones. But again, then it's kind of like you have some mid ones, and then you have some pretty shit ones. Again, Bed of Chaos, in my opinion, still the worst boss in the whole series, and I'm hoping they never beat it. But Dark Souls 1 on the whole is just... It, like I said with Demon Souls being like a truly incredible experience, Dark Souls 1 is like that, but just 10 times better. Like, I've never experienced a game like Dark Souls 1, and I don't think I will again. Even the other Souls games don't give you the same like experience that Dark Souls 1 does. It's such an incredible game all around, and the only reason it doesn't get any higher is a mix of just my personal love for the next games, and also the second half of the game is just something I can't really, let go of. So, but on the whole, Dark Souls 1 is iconic. It's the reason really all these other games exist, because even though Demon Souls was the first, it wasn't, it didn't take off the same. So yeah, I'm so thankful I played Dark Souls, and yeah, it just astounds me how incredible of a game it is. But the fact that it's only at 5th place to show you how good the next games are. So let's get into 4th place. Dark Souls 3. My personal first Dark Souls game. Not my first game on this list, my third game on this list, but my first experience with a Dark Souls game. And God, was it an experience. I love this game so much, and it kind of pains me to even have to put it as low as 4th place, because I genuinely don't really even have a flaw with this game. It's more every game, so from now on, the games before, I only really had even slight faults with, but these next 4 games, I literally have barely any complaints outside of a few nitpicks. It's just which ones do I love more, and so these next 4 were really hard to rank, and it was really hard for me to put Dark Souls 3 at 4th place, but this is where it is on the list. And even at 4th place, this game to me is a masterpiece. I even just finished a challenge run that I plan on uploading probably as the next video on this channel, which was a SL level 1 run. And even at SL1, this game is just so much fun. It feels like the most balanced game to me, just by like the kind of get good kind of aspect, where almost nothing feels bullshit, at least to me, like not on the top of my head anyway. Like, I feel like I can get through this game just with the pure skill I've got from playing these games and playing this game, not to mention just boss quality. I personally think that this game has the most consistent, like, amazing boss quality out of like the entire series, in my opinion. Like, oh my god, it blows me away, man. There's almost no bosses I consider bad. There's a couple that I consider to just be pretty boring or like mid, mainly being like Curse Ray of Greatwood or Deacons or something like that. Probably a couple more. But overall, the boss is just really good, and it has some of the best bosses in the whole series. Like, I mean, we're talking about Sister Freed, Slave Knight Gale, Midir, best dragon boss in the series, in my opinion, still, even above Bale. Who haven't I mentioned? Just talking about DLC bosses, yeah. The Demon Princes, well, Demon in Pain and Demon from Below, so incredible, man. Like, it blows me away how good the bosses are in this game. Like I said, like, I feel like there's not even really any like majorly bad ones that annoy me. Uh, fucking what's his face? Spear of the Church, Half-Light, is pretty annoying if you find like the NPC version or whatever. But it's still that kind of like PvP unique kind of boss. I just hate the painters as well. I don't think that was necessary, but still, overall, boss quality is incredible. As some of my favorite bosses in the entire series, Slave Knight Gale is incredible. Medea's one of my tops. I'd say at least out of my top 10 bosses in the series, probably at least 3 or 4 of them are from Dark Souls 3. Like, so the majority. And it's just because the boss quality is just so good. I know a lot of people, like, their main complaint with DS3 is the quote-unquote linear level design. I personally don't even think this game has linear level design. I think it has more linear level design than something like Dark Souls 1 or 2. But I still don't think it's a linear game, like by itself. I think it is compared to those two. But I still don't think it entirely is just as a game. And even with that, I don't think that's always a bad thing. Like, too much freedoms sometimes can be annoying. Granted, I do personally like the world, like the level design of DS1, 2, or Bloodborne more than DS3. But I still really appreciate DS3 for what it has, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think they're both incredible, just that one is maybe slightly better than the other in my opinion, but I think they're both incredible. Like I said, we got 2 amazing DLCs. The final boss, Soul of Cinder, like I almost wanted to cry, like just hearing Gwyn's theme come in, and this whole like it's just so beautiful. It's nostalgia done, and like fan service done perfectly. And like, as someone who came for this series through Bloodborne, and then basically played all of the games like back to back because I got obsessed with them, and now have basically barely even plays anything else, because why would I when these games are so good? Like, it just I've never experienced such an incredible trilogy of games in my whole life than the Dark Souls trilogy, and it just felt amazing to be a part of that and to get to see the end and to get to either link the flame one last time or plunge the world into darkness or any of this. It just, man, like it's amazing. Like Dark Souls 3 in general, I don't know what else to say. The game just feels amazing. The combat feels incredible. The weapons are amazing. The weapon arts feel fun. The bosses are amazing. The character creation's awesome. The lore's amazing. The music's amazing. I just don't even know what else to say. This game's incredible. I have almost nothing bad to say about it. The literal only reason it's not any higher is just that I love the next games just that bit more. Like I said, every other game on this list, including this one, is like triple S tier to me. Let's say Demon's Souls was S tier, Dark Souls 2 was double S tier, then these 4 are triple S, and like perfect games to me practically. So it's just picking one over the other, you know, for me anyway. So that's Dark Souls 3. I love this game so much. I get why people have their gripes or whatever, but for me, this is like the best Dark Souls experience. Well, let's get on to number 3. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Man, I love this game. This was the second game in the entirety of this list that I ever played. Straight after Bloodborne, I went into Sekiro. This game was also pretty new when I got into it. Like, I think maybe only a year, maybe not even that. Like a bit under a year old. And my God, this game is a fucking masterpiece. I think the story is beautiful. I think this game, for me personally, easily has the best combat in any game ever. no game I've ever played has ever even like come as close. This combat system just feels so much fun. I feel like such a badass every single time I play it. And I've played this game so much. I think it's my second most played game in the series behind Elden Ring. Especially because I used to speedrun the game a lot. I love this game so much. There's almost no bad bosses in this game. I feel like the only weak ones are a couple of the mini bosses. But the main actual like remembrance bosses are peak. All of them are really good. Some of them are just okay. You know, things like the monkeys and stuff like that. I actually like Guardian Ape. I think he's a cool fight. I don't like the Ape Duo, actually. Okay, sorry. There is one bad boss in this game, and that's the Guardian Ape Duo. That boss sucks. But boss quality is incredible. Combat is incredible. Story is beautiful. I think Wolf is an awesome character, just as a protagonist. And he feels super awesome to play him. There's a whole 4 endings. I don't even know. I'm surprised this game feels so replayable to me, when in theory it shouldn't be. Like, this should be the least replayable game in the series, you know, in theory, because there's no build variety really. The only build variety we really get is with the I don't know why I'm forgetting what they're called, but you know, the different things you can use, like the crackers and kunai and stuff like that. And like with these certain skills we get, that's kind of the only actual variety. But even without using many of those myself anyway, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've used them all, I've got them all multiple times, I've used them on different playthroughs and stuff, but even with just straight up, you know, just playing the game standard, just going like with, you know, R1s and deflecting and everything, using like mortal draw as like the main weapon skill I'm using, even with just that, the game's just so much fun, man. And I can just play it over and over again. Like, I must have like, you know, I mean, at least like over 1,500 like hours in this game. It might be even more, I don't know, split between my console hours and my PC hours. And I mean, I've got all achievements in this game, I think 4 times now. I did it first on my PlayStation, then I did it on my PC, then I did it on my friend's PlayStation, and then I just reset it again just to do it again, just for the fun of it, because I just love this game that much. It's just that enjoyable to me. Like, there's so much I can say that like I can't really even fit it in. I feel like I need to make a video on each of these separately, like a full-on retrospective on each of these games, because that's what they all deserve. But like, Sekiro is one of the main ones that this used to be definitely my number 2 back when I played this, and it was like very close to number 1 as well. But then it was like, I've played Elden Ring so much that, I mean, obviously you can see it is, you know, at least a spot or 2 above it, which again, this was so hard to rank for me, because this game is peak. I, again, have like practically no complaints with this game. I love everything about it. I love the story, I love the combat, I love the design of the world. I think visually the game is beautiful. Even Divine Dragon, like, yeah, it's a bit sucky as like an actual boss, but like, it's still just such a beautiful, stunning boss that like, I still enjoy the experience. Like, I don't know, man. And then your first time through this game, I also think what's weird is that, like, I think my first time playing this game, this was the hardest first playthrough out of any of these games. For me, personally. Like, the first time through this, I struggled, man. Especially Sword Saint Ishin, the final boss of 3 of the endings. It took me hours, bro. Like, I mean, granted, I was like, you know, I missed multiple mini bosses. I was going into the game blind and stuff, so I didn't have like max prayer beads and attack power and stuff. But like, it still took me so long. But then the next time I fought him, I beat him first try. You know, like, and that's what's so perfect about these games, is that like it hammers that muscle memory into your head, and I feel like Sekiro does that better than any of the others do, and the others also do it amazing. Ugh, I just love this game so much, man. It's amazing on the first experience. It's amazing however many times you play it. For me, I can literally never get bored of it. I can get why people probably consider it to be not as replayable because there isn't build variety. But for me, I don't even need it. Like, just playing the game straight up, just simple, no complications, is more than enough for me just to, like, have an amazing time. I don't know, man. Like, I also just love the simple buffs, like just using the Yash sugars and stuff like that. Like, I love that I could just go in with the confidence just to do that, Like, it's like an RTSR, but like nowhere near as awkward to use. Because if you don't know, it just like cuts your health in half to boost your damage by a bunch, rather than you having to be low HP. Anyway, I've rambled about this enough. The point is, Sekiro is peak. I have basically no complaint with the game apart from that Guardian Ebjo sucks, and yeah, that's about it. There really isn't much else I can say. Maybe it would have been kind of cool if there was one more final boss, I guess, like, for one more of the endings. I don't know. But even that is just a stupid complaint. That doesn't even bother me. I'm just trying to think of anything. But this game's incredible. If you've never tried it, this is one of the main ones I would recommend. Just a masterpiece. Pure masterpiece. And we're here at the big one, Elden Ring. I wonder if most people would have expected this to be number one. And it comes close. It really does come close. This game, man, it's absolutely incredible. This was the first one of these games for me that I actually got to play, like, on release. Like, the rest of the games had already come out by the time I got into them when I started with Bloodborne. So I got to watch all the trailers and, really see the hype for this game. And when it came out, it did not disappoint, man. This game is truly a masterpiece. I was a bit worried because I don't tend to be big on open world games. It's not really my kind of thing for the most part. But my god, Elden Ring's open world, in my opinion, is the best I've ever seen in a game. I think it's so incredible. The amount of content in this game is crazy. This is by far my most played Souls game, and I think probably my most played game ever as well, or at least single player game. Like, I think I'm coming up on nearly 2,000 hours in this game, and I'm still not bored of it. I'm still excited to do more runs, more builds, more challenge runs, especially for videos in the future. I just love this game. The lore is impeccable. I love everything about it, and I can't wait to learn more. I keep watching every video that Fuzzy Vision puts out. The world, the visuals are incredible in this game. The amount of weapon variety. I was talking about this in Dark Souls 2, where I said that I think when it comes to replayability, the two games that have it the best for me are Elden Ring and Dark Souls 2, because the amount of variety with builds and weapons and movesets that you have in this game, it's insane. Like, I still haven't tried everything. Like, I have so many hours in the game, and I still haven't tried every spell or every weapon. Don't get me wrong, I could have, but I have so much fun with different things that, like, I didn't need to. Like, not to mention, with the DLC coming out, we got things like the hand-to-hand, which is so much fun. The great katanas are amazing. The light great swords are amazing. I really hope they expand on these a lot in their next game. I'm just rambling. There's so much to talk about with Elden Ring. The NPCs and the quests were, that's so good. They're so good. The best they've ever been, I think. Blythe is possibly my favorite NPC in all of Soulsborne. Now, I love his character and I love the whole story of Ronnie and everything so much. You've had Ronnie's quest, amazing. The DLC was also just incredible, absolute masterpiece. I even think Radon is a fantastic boss, a fantastic fight. Both versions. The OG Radon is even better. Mesmer is incredible. Radagon, Godfrey, Morgoth. I could go through so many bosses and I'd be here forever. That are just so amazing. Not to mention, yeah, the amount of bosses in this game, and so many of them are so good. Barely any of them I think are really bad. I think some are. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple that are kind of ass, but I would say for the most part we get really good boss quality in this game, considering how much we get in the game as well. I don't know. Elden Ring is just, it's a masterpiece, and I'm so happy it succeeded as much as it has. It deserves it in every way, and FromSoft deserve it in every way. And I really hope that this really helps expand, and gives us so many good games in the future. I guess that's enough rambling about Elden Ring. The point is, the game's incredible. It's a masterpiece. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend. And let's get on to our number one. Here we are at number one with Bloodborne. And as much as I debated with Sekiro, Elden Ring, and even Dark Souls 3 at some points that possibly they could be better, every time I go back to play Bloodborne, I realise, no, for me, this is the greatest game of all time. This isn't even just my favourite Souls game, it's my favourite game. And I don't think that will ever change. The only studio that I think could beat it is FromSoft themselves, and I don't even know if they will beat this for me. This game really showed me just how good a game could be. And I've never felt so in love with a game before. Its setting is perfect. Its bosses are perfect. Its music is perfect. The whole vibe of the game and the whole atmosphere is perfect. I'm a sucker for old gothic, Britain kind of atmospheres, and Bloodborne hits that so perfectly. It's unbelievable. The voice acting is incredible. I love every quest line. I love every boss fight. I love every cutscene. There's really nothing I don't love about this game. When I first played this, it was because it was free on PlayStation Plus at one point, and I think I downloaded it, played 5 minutes, and just didn't really care, and then play again. And then I decided to re-download it a bit later, a few years later or something. And I think this was during, I can't remember exactly when this was. I think I maybe was in college at the time, and I was just blown away by just how incredible this game was. And I mean, it impressed me so much that not only did it become my favorite game, but I played it 3 times, I think, straight away to get all the endings and to get all the trophies. Then I went to play Sekiro, then Dark Souls 3, then Dark Souls 1, and then, the whole series. I played everything. What's funny is the reason I actually even started to play it was because of the lowest game on this list. Because when I saw the trailer for the Demon's Souls remake, I loved the look of it. And I didn't even really know anything about Dark Souls. Apart from that, the games are hard. That's kind of all I'd heard. But when I saw that really hooked me. I love medieval fantasy, and it really, really hooked me. So I wanted to play a game like it, and the only one I owned was Bloodborne. Because, and at that point, I didn't even know Bloodborne was made by the same studio. And, so I gave it a try, and, man, I never looked back. It took a toll. And the fact that the literal only negative I can give the game is that it's 30 FPS and that I can't play it on my PC. Is like, it's essentially me saying that I just want to play the game more. That's my only negative, and that it's harder to do that because it's stuck on my console, and I want to make content for it and everything. But at the moment, that's hard. But like, the fact that that's like the only negative I can really give. The weapons in this game as well. I think they have probably the most satisfying and best movesets in the whole series. Just because of them being like the Switch weapons, they're so much fun. All of them are so unique from each other. Yeah, we don't get a lot of them, but they're still amazing all in their own right, and they make up for that, I would say. It blows me away. It really blows me away. I can still remember the first time running on the bridge, having the cleric beast jump down and like scare the shit out of me. I'm thankful I played this game. I'm genuinely thankful because it's what got me into Souls games and really like just showed me how much I truly love video games. You know, like I've obviously grew up with them, but like this game just like, and these games in general, like I've never had an experience like these games, and I never will have an experience like these games again. It's why every single time I just can't wait to hear more announcements from FromSoft. Hopefully even one about Bloodborne eventually, who knows. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Bloodborne has perfect atmosphere to me, perfect world, perfect combat. I love the dodging, the perfect weapons, perfect DLC, best DLC in the series in my opinion. Every part of it's amazing. There's also not really any bad areas. There's some that are like meh. Even the Poison Swamp area in this game isn't that bad, and at least we get a good boss at the end of it. I like Amygdala. Like, and it also has like a couple of my favorite bosses in all of Souls, and even my favorite boss, my number one, Lady Maria. Like, plus a bunch of the stories bring me to tears. They're so beautiful. It's just incredible. This game is a masterpiece through and through, and I could not recommend the game more. If you have a PlayStation, please play this. You will not regret it, I promise you. And that is gonna do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. This is the first of hopefully many on this channel. Most of them probably not like this, probably pretty different, more gameplay related. But I still hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, maybe leave a like and maybe subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.